Picture your credit card balance the day after your funeral. Somebody owes that money, but who? Not your kids and not your spouse. In the US, the balance outlives you and goes looking for someone who no longer exists. The day you die, the law creates a brand new person to hand the bill to. That person stands in a queue. And when their money runs out, everyone still waiting in line gets nothing forever. Because the fear everyone carries is the opposite. That debt is inherited. Dad's balance landing on the kids like a cursed heirloom. In the US, nobody gets a bill for being related to you. So who is the new person? When you die, your estate is born. Everything you owned pours in. House, car, checking account, guitar, and everything you owed attaches to it. For months, this ghost you exists on paper, run by an executor, inside a court process called probate. Creditors don't write to your daughter. They file a claim against the ghost. And now the queue, because the ghost pays in a strict, legally mandated order. In the American states built on the Uniform Probate Code, one section lists the classes, and it reads like a seating chart at a very grim wedding. First, the cost of running the estate itself. Second, the funeral. Third, debts and taxes the federal government gets first crack at. Fourth, and this is the seat nobody expects, the medical and hospital bills of your final illness. Fifth, state taxes. And sixth, one line, at the very back, holding a paper ticket, all other claims. That's your credit card. That's the personal loan. Every unsecured dollar you owed, filed under all other. The mortgage and the car loan aren't even in this line. A secured lender eats from the house and the car themselves. Watch what that means. The estate pays class 1 in full, then 2, then 3, and when the money runs out, it just stops. Whoever's behind that point gets nothing, and legally, that's the end. The debt doesn't jump to the family. It evaporates, written off by the issuer, priced into the interest rate every living cardholder pays. Think about that for a second. Part of your APR is a tax for the customers who leave without paying. Every mortal loan carries one exit nobody can remove. The queue is how the law keeps it orderly. Now the wall's in the fine print because family doesn't pay has real exceptions. Co-sign a loan and you were never family to that debt, you were a borrower. It's yours now, fully. In the 9 community property states, a surviving spouse can be on the hook for debts from the marriage. And a few states still have filial responsibility statutes, which can make adult children liable for a parent's care. In 2012, a Pennsylvania appeals court did exactly that. A nursing home went after a son for his mother's bill after she moved to Greece, and he was ordered to pay about $93,000. The evidence he could afford it was his own tax returns. The rule isn't family never pays. It's family pays only when the law made them a party. But some money never enters the courtroom at all. A life insurance payout with a named beneficiary doesn't pour into the ghost's pot. It flies straight to the person on the form, over the heads of every creditor in the queue. Same for retirement accounts, and bank accounts marked payable on death. The queue only governs what falls into the estate, and a beneficiary form is a trapdoor out of it. So a person can die owing $50,000 in medical bills while $100,000 of insurance money sails past the hospital, untouchable, into a daughter's account. It also means the beneficiary form beats the will, and in 2009 the U.S. Supreme Court said so out loud. A man's divorce decree stripped his ex-wife of any claim to his retirement savings. He never changed the form. He died, the plan paid the ex-wife, and his daughter, administering the estate, got nothing. The court held the plan was right to follow its own paperwork, and the creditors are racing a clock. In California, a claim must be filed within 4 months of the executor's appointment, and behind that sits an outer wall. 1 year from the date of death, and every claim against the dead is barred. For small balances, many lenders never file at all. The paperwork costs more than the corpse of the debt is worth. Which brings us to the industry living in the gap between law and grief. Collectors may call the spouse, the executor, anyone with authority to pay from the estate. Settled federal policy since 2011. Read the condition attached. The collector must avoid creating the misleading impression that the person on the phone is personally liable. A regulator only writes a sentence like that after reading a stack of transcripts where the impression was the entire point. Any payment a grieving relative volunteers on a debt they never owed is perfectly legal to keep. The queue protects the family. Silence about the queue is worth money. So, your balance, the day after your funeral, it doesn't haunt your kids. It files into a queue behind the undertaker and the tax office, collects what's left or collects nothing, and vanishes. In the US, debt isn't inherited. It's orphaned, and the lender knew that the day it set your interest rate. Europe runs a sharper gear. An heir who accepts an inheritance can accept its debts with it, so the law hands you a window to refuse. In Germany, it's in the civil code. 6 weeks from learning you've inherited, 6 months if you're abroad. Miss it, and the inheritance is yours automatically, debts and all. An inheritance is an offer, and it expires. If your estate paid the queue tomorrow, where would the money run out? Next time, the most expensive piece of paper in America. A hospital bill charging $500 for a bag of salt water. Almost nobody is expected to pay that number. So who is it written for? That's next